And I think we're going to have to, tackle the elephant in the room and talk about cheating in CEDH.
Welcome back to the Colors Over Crutch podcast. My name is Max Sternberg, also known as Wounded Satellite, and I'm joined, as always, by the kindly Lord himself, Max P, the Italian man. How you doing today, Max?
Oh, I'm doing okay. I could be doing better, frankly. And I think everybody probably knows, why I'm upset, because I think a lot of people are upset. And I think we're going to have to, tackle the elephant in the room and talk about cheating in CEDH. But that's not all we're gonna
again.
Yeah, again, yes, and again. But that's not all we're gonna talk about. We'll talk about that for a little while, and then Max did get to play in a smaller tournament out in Colorado over the weekend and did quite well. So we will get a chance to kind of go through his rounds and hear his experience. But first, we got to talk about it. It's not comfortable. I don't like talking about it. I know you don't like talking about it, but but we have to because this has become a huge part of what's going on in our game at this point. For those who don't know, Max competed in Chaos Treasure Series 9 a few weeks back, and then also in Lotus Series 2 a week or so ago. And the guy who we were very enamored with, both of us were enamored with, and we're talking about having as part of our first gameplay video, SeanAngel, who's the Corvold player who took down Treasure Series 9, got caught cheating, and got caught pretty blatantly. This isn't like maybe he was cheating. I mean, you can't quite tell. Was that shuffle a good shuffle? No. Dude hid cards under the table and was caught on camera reaching under the table to add cards from there into his hand. And there's lots of video on it. Like, go look it up. It won't take you more than a minute to find it. I can put some things in the description so you can go find it. So just to say it's disappointing to me is a massive understatement. I'm upset. I'm like, we're like a week away from it now. I thought like some time, I'd calm down, I'd feel better. I'm blown that this keeps happening. And it feels like at this point that every single online webcam tournament has a caught cheater. I can't think of one that didn't. And the problem with that is those are the guys who were caught. Inevitably, for every guy who was caught, there's a few others who got away with it. And I'm not sure yet what to do with that. Where are you on this, Max?
Do you mean in general or in this situation specifically?
I'm both, I guess.
I mean, with this situation specifically, I obviously like me and Waffle and people were quote unquote the most affected by it, by just the fact that we were in the finals with him. And I do want to say there's actually been no video evidence showing anything in that tournament specifically. I think is valid to bring up.
I don't care about that personally, but
I know you don't. I just think it's good to give the full picture here, which I kind of like got over it a little earlier than most because I was aware of the situation quite a bit before it was fully public knowledge. So I got sent the video, the initial video of the CEDH sideboard under the table card from people in the server where that league tournament thing was taking place. And I did the same thing that I did with the other people I know who I enjoyed as people, looking back to like Big TP and Derek and such, where I called Sean and I had a one-on-one conversation with him and kind of gave him the space and ability to come clean if he wished to come clean before anything was released to the public. And all we had at that moment was that one video, which I showed him that video when he was confused what we were talking about. And his explanation was that, and I will say I don't like that, the way Chaos and everything described it, they used some of his outside personal situations in his life kind of as an excuse. And I understand that things in your outside life can lead you to make incorrect decisions. I don't discredit that, but I don't think it's what you should be bringing up as an excuse for someone's actions when they are clearly cheating and clearly wrong. So the conversation with Sean, after I showed him the video, he immediately was like, oh, that looks terrible. Yeah, no, I understand why everyone is mad. Like, that looks terrible. And his explanation was that a card fell, and he remembered thinking that it fell, and then when he picked it up, he meant to say something to the table and then didn't. That's his explanation.
Total horseshit. Total horseshit. Total horseshit. Yeah. This is the problem. This is the problem. Like, give a little history here. I initially started a podcast long before we started a podcast, and it was with a guy who was running a fringe deck that was having some success, who everyone knows now because he cheated. And I'm talking about Nilstan and his Safi deck. Same kind of situation. Like, I liked Nilstan. He was a good dude. We were like friends. I would consider us friends, and we were doing a podcast together. And he cheated. And even if you were to go talk to Nilstan now, he'll narrow down the scope of the cheating to like, oh, it only happened in this one situation. For me, as far as I'm concerned, if you fucking cheated one time in one tournament in one game, every single game you've ever played of CEDH, you cheated. Because I'm not going to sit there and try to, play detective every time and be like, well, he still won some games and he still put up results. No, you cheated once. I assume you cheated in every single game that you've ever played. Period.
Which is fair. It was like with the conversation with Sean, I didn't like fully believe him or not believe him at that time. I am a thing of it was one video. One video isn't always the most concrete. Obviously, that one looks super bad. But yeah, mentally, I was like, okay, probably cheated there. Especially like the way he did it, where then he did keep the card in his hand. Then it becomes cheating, and he even admitted, yes, it was a mistake, and it was like cheating in that situation. So yes, that was bad. The mental thought process of has it happened all the time, I wasn't sure. But then looking at the other videos when we were going through stuff, and we found the one where like he shuffled until he saw the dock side and then clearly moved the dock side and put the dock side near the top of the middle pile, and then even like asked people to give him the right pile if you have the game audio. That one to me kind of confirmed it in my brain.
Sure.
Which it's not a good thing. It's not something I like to see. Obviously, it's super shitty to have like lost a finals game to someone who cheated, and especially after my quote unquote curse of like always losing the game on to the person on the play on their third or now second turn from this one, and knowing that my hand on that Mulda 5 was a turn 2 Consphinx in second seat, which probably leads me to victory there and to my first major tournament win.
Yeah, you were robbed.
A little frustrating.
Yeah, you're completely robbed. And you know what the worst thing is? The worst thing is it turns tournaments that are supposed to be like, okay, you played, you found the results, you saw what happened, into these games of woulda, coulda, shoulda, right? Now we have to sit here and like, sort of backtrack and think, okay, I had the turn 2 Consphinx. Would that have won the game? I mean, it seems likely. What if player 3 had a swords? What if player 4 had this? Like you don't. Now you're in. I don't know, because the whole tournament is screwed. Whole tournament's screwed. Yeah. Because who knows who would have been in top 16 if he hadn't cheated? Who would have made top 4 if he didn't cheated? We have no idea. The whole thing is fucked.
I feel bad for players like MZ.
Oh, sure.
Because like MZ is a very talented Corvold player who I absolutely think is a fair player. You know what I mean? And he's having success with the deck, and he's been bringing it tournament after tournament, and he has no question marks around him. But so I feel bad that he is going to have to deal with bullshit just from the fact that he's playing Corvold now and doing well with it.
Yeah.
Because when you give this deck that hasn't had success the stigma of, oh, it only does well when someone cheats with it, that's also going to come back on the players who play that deck, and that got to be crappy.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger implication, even bigger than that, is there are a lot of people who the only kind of Magic CDH tournaments they can play are webcam-based tournaments. And, this has a profound effect on that environment. Like, how many times is this going to happen before people stop wanting to play on webcam for money? Because I'll tell you what, I'm there. I don't want to play in a webcam tournament right now. I don't want to put my money in it. I don't want to, I have a wife and 3 kids and a job. But my time is extremely valuable to me. I don't have the ability to play in a tournament every weekend. I just literally can't do it. So I have to very carefully pick, okay, what weekends am I going to tell my wife, hey, you take the kids, good luck, I'm going to play Magic. Right? I can't do that all the time. But I'm not going to pick a webcam tournament to do that. Because I'm not going to waste my time on that. It just doesn't feel right. And I know I'm not the only person who feels that way. I know there's a lot of people who are backing away from webcam tournaments, and that is very bad for CEDH. So I'm distraught. Like I can't understate it. I am so upset by this, so upset by it, and upset that it just continues to happen, and it's going to kill webcam tournaments. There have to be adjustments made just to reduce this from happening. And I think through all the things that can be done. I know that when I play a webcam tournament, I do double camera setup. I have a great view of me and the desk, but no one else seems to be doing that. Doesn't seem to be common at this point. That's number one. Number two, even if you did do that, even if you have a 2-camera setup, it's still easy to cheat on webcam because you have control over your environment. You can hide cards in places. You can adjust your camera contrast to hide different shade sleeves and mark cards. Like all of that is very possible in a webcam tournament in ways that an in-person tournament is not. I'll pause there a second, Max, give you a chance to say something because I'm talking your head off. So, what are your thoughts?
Well, I don't fucking give people ideas. You know what I mean? Like, don't mention changing the contrast.
Oh, there's so many things that you could do. It's like endless. It's endless.
Yes, no. Okay. Online tournaments have inherent limitations, and I think that there are 2 camps of mentality when dealing with these cheating situations. There are people like you who are distraught and angered by it, and it's not that I'm not angered and annoyed by it. It's the fact that I've mentally already accepted that until we find a more perfect system, there's going to be some amount of this. And I accept it. I don't like it. I wish it would stop. But I'm not going to not play in these online events. I love CEDH. I love Tournament CEDH. I love the accessibility of the online events and how they allow globalization of CEDH. They allow us to play against every corner of the world together. They allow us to compete against every corner of the world together. And that's, I would not be who I am today if it wasn't for the online events. I was living in Costa Rica when I started. I would not have been able to play in a single tournament.
Yeah, I feel you.
Everything that I've worked to accomplish would not exist if these online events didn't exist.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that we give credit when credit is due. For we are doing the best we can with the limitations we have in the situation we're trying to present.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to stop playing in these events just because some people suck.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you on that. I do. I feel you. But I will also say like some other things that I think the tournament organizers can and need to do a lot more. To deal with this problem. I think it's a huge headache for them, and let's be frank, they're not making enough money on this to justify the amount of effort that it's going to take for them to tackle this problem. We did see Chaos come out with a initial statement that was pretty, in my opinion, pretty lukewarm.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, not real aggressive. It basically said, hey, he had some personal issues, 6-month ban that can be appealed. And everyone, I think, in the community was like, wait, what? 6 months? What? And that...
Yeah, I mean, the 6 months has kind of been the standard, so I don't really balk at that. But what I do balk at is the, the excuses they made for him, essentially. I'm not a fan of. I do not like how they were just like, he had personal issues and it led him to make incorrect decisions. That's not your responsibility as a tournament organizer. And even when I've had conversations with like back when it was Big T trying to make a statement and stuff like that, I told them, I said, do not give any fucking excuses. That is not what you want to be doing right now. You need to admit what you did wrong, take accountability for your actions, ask for forgiveness, and promise to be better when you are allowed to return. That is the correct way to handle it.
If you're allowed to return. And here's the other thing. It's like, playing CEDH is not, food and shelter and water, right? It is not a necessity in life. Privilege. It is a privilege, and it can be taken away, and you don't feel like you're harming someone by taking that away. You know, if they cheat, in my opinion, if you cheat, if you've been shown to be a cheater in 99.99999% of cases, I don't want to see you play anymore. Like, go play a different game. Go play Pokemon. Like, you're out of CDH, in my opinion. I don't want to see you again because I will never trust that you're not cheating.
I think.
I'm sorry. Like,
yeah, but I think second chances should exist. There are simple things as well where, like, just from cheating does not mean that you are going to win every game. Like, a lot of the people who have been caught cheating are competent match. They're not scrubs who and I'm not giving them an excuse. Just let me finish the thought. But, like, my thought is, like, I do want good players in the community. And if you are able to take accountability for your actions, promise to be better in the future, I don't have an issue personally with them trying to return at some point later in time and being better, as long as they are better. And then I think if you're ever caught a second time, you're gone for good. 100% gone for good.
Yeah, for me, it's one time you're done.
That would be
gone. Goodbye.
Yeah, I'm a little more forgiving than you.
No, yeah, I'm basically zero forgiveness. I mean, there are some cases where, like, you know, it could be argued that maybe it was an accidental thing where someone, like, I don't know. I can't even think of a good example. Like, what? How do you cheat accidentally? Like to me, it is a decision. Like, you decided to cheat and you planned it and you cheated.
Cheating accidentally, trying to think,
maybe not accidental is the right word, but like opportunistic. Like, I can imagine, you do something like, instead of mulling to 5, you mulligan to 6 twice, right? That kind of thing, I'm sure, is rampant.
If that's on purpose, that's still cheating.
Yeah, I know.
But like, yeah, that could happen accidentally. Yeah, but that could happen accidentally.
Yeah, that's something that could happen accidentally, and you could that could happen, right, and you could say, "Oh, it was a mistake," and you'll never be able to prove that it wasn't a mistake. So in that case, I can imagine saying, "Hey, you're now on probation. If you're caught doing that again, then it's purposeful and you're out." Those are the only kind of situations I can think of where it's anything less than permaban. Goodbye. You don't play Magic anymore. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I could see a world where it's like, if you have a large hand and you're tutoring and you, like, have your deck broken in and somehow they get confused. There's, like, a world something gets
you put the wrong pile on top by accident. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
I even noticed, like, I guess actually one accidental one I've even done when I've gone and, like, looked back through my own tournament games. Like, random fetch land crack tutor in the middle of a game, I've, like, forgotten to do the piles.
I've
noticed that a couple of times when
I used a goblin crater maker to destroy a curse totem. Right? But I didn't do it because I was purposely like, I'm going to cheat now and do this. It was
I can't do that.
Right. Yeah, right. It was just
took me a second. I was like, that's totally illegal target. What do you mean?
Right, exactly. Just a mistake, a mistake that, effectively is cheating, but it's not done on purpose. You're not trying to cheat, like you fucked up.
My Thorn Mammoth didn't die in that top 16 game a few
exactly,
weeks ago.
That kind of thing.
Kilgore's Relic of Legends came in untapped. It's not purposeful.
No.
It's just little game rule errors that, like, happen sometimes.
Right. That's
obviously very different than stacking your deck and putting cards.
Yeah,
in it,
for me, it's like unforgivable. Like doing what Sean did, unforgivable. Done. Goodbye. I don't want to see him play CEDH again ever. At least, like, if you want to play at a pod with him at like a LGS and you don't mind playing with him, good for you. I won't be there. I won't be playing in that pod. Sorry. And I feel very, very strong about this. Now, to Chaos's credit, there was a lot of feedback. I was included in the people giving that feedback to Chaos. They took it in, and they re-released a new statement where they changed the policy, where basically they're doing what I'm saying. It's a permanent ban. You don't get reinstated. And they also put a policy out that says, if you plan a tournament and cheating affects the outcome, you get credit towards a future tournament, which is basically a way of protecting your financial investment, which is great.
That I appreciate.
Yeah, that's great. That's
oh wait, so do I get free entry into the next one?
Yeah, you should contact them. Absolutely.
Oh, cool.
That's
I do want to. It might not be the time, but I do want to shout out Chaos because they gave me a special gift.
Oh, really? Go on. That was a good time, probably.
So back in August, when I got my third Chaos top 4, I asked them, I said, hey, rather than get the same playmat again, could I get the playmat, but could you have it, like, written on it that says, like, this fucking guy again or something? And they said, yeah, we can probably make that happen. But I guess they weren't able to have the artist who did their normal playmat adjust the file. So instead they made me a custom version of the Champions playmat.
You got it handy? Yeah.
Okay, they made me this awesome custom playmat.
Dude, that's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah.
Says my name on it. Says this guy again. I'm super hype about this, and I'm gonna be using it when I play Obnixilis this week.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it. Yeah, so I mean, kudos. Like I said, kudos to Chaos. They're genuinely trying to fix this problem. I still think they need to be even more aggressive about it. Like, I really want to see double camera setups become the standard. It's just not that hard to do.
That I don't like.
Why?
Because I don't fucking have a second camera.
So it's $20.
Like
dude.
my current situation. Yeah, no, but it's not that. It's not always the situation of just having another camera. It's also the setup. Like my current setup, the way my camera is right now, and the way this is the same camera I use for my webcam games in these tournaments. What you guys cannot see behind me is that on this plaster wall here, there is a window that has shades. What I have a lamp with a clip bottom that is clipped to the rolled up window shades. And then I have my gooseneck camera attached to that lamp that is hanging down to then get it to the position it is now, so I can do these recordings and have it hang over my games. That is not a situation where I would feel comfortable putting a second gooseneck attached to that fucking lamp. So like, and I mean, honestly, I do a pretty good job though of, if you go back to my recorded games, like you can see the end of my table, you can see a pretty big space. Like I try and have a very, very clear board state.
I hear you. I hear you.
I don't think it should become a standard for double camera.
Yeah.
Yet. I'm personally not a fan of that.
Yeah, we don't agree on that. I really believe that it needs to be pushed, and it's not that difficult with a little bit of effort. You know how fucking gross it would have been last weekend though. Not this one, but like the previous one when I was sick. Yeah, it would have been nuts.
I don't want to fucking be on camera looking like that. Are you kidding me?
I don't blame you. You can blur your face.
Sneezing and coughing.
We can blur your face. That's not too hard to do.
Oh my god,
it can be done.
We agree to disagree on the double camera.
I think it's step one. It's the first basic step towards dealing with this problem. The other thing I think there needs to be is like the opening of each game needs to be a little bit longer. Like you can't do 80-minute rounds because you need to add 10 minutes for each person to shuffle in order. Shuffle, do the cuts while everyone's watching. Next person does it. Next person does it. Next person does it. I think you have to, you know, because otherwise, like the start of your top 4 game in Treasure Series 9, like Sean was already shuffled when we tuned in, and his pile's just sitting there, and everyone else is shuffling, and there's no way everyone can be watching more than one person shuffle at a time. The other thing is there's no deck checks, so I could be playing a 60-card deck in a 100-card format, and no one would ever fucking know.
60 we'd know. If
how?
It was like
how
90,
would you know? How would you know?
Okay. I don't know. If it was like 90 cards, we wouldn't know.
I mean,
but 60 we could tell. 60, it's small enough we could tell.
I don't know, dude. When I play, you know, my double sleeved Perfect Heart inners and KMC Hyper Phoenix outers, 60 cards is about the same height as everyone's single sleeved 100-card deck.
Have you ever seen the triple sleeve decks?
Yes.
They're fucking massive.
Yeah.
Like if you triple sleeved a 60 card, you could probably make it look legit.
I'm telling you, I could put it this way: at least like 75. I could do 75 cards and it would look exactly the same as 100 with the sleeves I have.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
I want to see a deck check. I want to see people go, okay, start of the round, count out 100 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Count them out for everybody. Do your shuffle.
I think that
do your cuts.
That'd probably only be like top 16 though, right?
I would ask that everyone do it every game. I'm sorry.
Sounds miserable. Jesus Christ.
The price we pay to play webcam games.
I understand that what you're like, the things you are saying are not incorrect. They hypothetically would be very helpful if everyone had double camera and everyone did a deck check and everyone shuffled individually and everyone watched them. Would those things reduce the number of cheaters? Yes, I 100% agree with you, but I do not think they are realistic in practice.
No.
These tournaments already go so long all day.
I know, it's a problem.
Like,
it's a problem.
Do I agree with adding 5 more minutes at the start of the round for mulligans so people could be a little calmer about mulligans? That I would be down for.
Okay.
But I do not think everyone needs to count out 100 cards before every game and fucking deck check and all this other stuff. Like, that is a little much.
I would rather do that and have, webcam tournaments be either 2 days or be 4 rounds of Swiss. Ooh, I know these are costs that we don't want to pay, but the cost of not doing it is cheaters. And a lot of cheating.
Yeah, but also, like, 4 rounds is not realistic. If you talk to Zane and the people at Eminence and they talk about it, like, being a 5-round event for now, the fact that these events, like, Mox Masters is 140 usually, Chaos is around 100 to 110. Like 5 rounds, they're already saying is enough.
No, it's not enough. That's, but what are you going to do? Like, you can't make the tournament perfect. You have to figure out where you're going to be imperfect.
Right. So you accept some flaws. Like, that's what I'm saying. There's just a natural
accept cheaters.
acceptance.
Like, you accept that there's going to be some cheaters.
Yeah, like, I fucking wish they would stop, but I accept that right now in online events and how they're structured, we do not have a perfect, realistic system to fix it. You can just tell people to record. I ask at the start of every game if someone is recording. Every single game. If you ever played a game to me, you hear me ask if someone is recording, and if someone is recording, I ask that you wait to start shuffling until we start recording. I do that every fucking round.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I do what I can, but that's
good.
That's like
good.
The things you can do, but that's the things you can do that are within the realm of realism, and it's realistic. And then if I have any susness after the game, I'm able to ask someone for a recording.
You could certainly,
and a lot of my rounds
certainly
lately, sadly, people have not been.
I mean, I hear you, and like, and some of these things maybe end up being too much. Like, okay, certainly we can't have people shuffle individually every game. Maybe you can only do that in top 16 and top 4. But you could definitely have people count out 100 cards for you. Like, that doesn't take that long. All right, start of the round, everyone count their 100 cards.
Sure.
Okay, I see that you have 100 cards. Move on.
Sure.
All right, you can do that. The other thing you could do that we talked about was, instead of paying everyone out as soon as the tournament ends, right, take a week to go review the videos. Take a minute for people to catch, their breath. Go review videos, find cheaters before you pay out. Right? And you don't have to set. You can set a limit to it. Say 1 week, 2 weeks. I don't know what it takes. How long it takes to realistically go and audit the games and look for cheaters. I don't know the answer to that. Memo would know better than us. But that should happen before payouts happen as well. And the benefit of that is, by saying that you're auditing the videos, that means the cheaters know that video is going to be looked at. Right? It's not just, there's a chance that someone goes back and reviews it. It's audited. So if you cheated on camera, there's a good chance you're going to get caught. Right? And that needs to be a message.
I could agree with some of those. But it's also like you then have to contact Chaos and say, like, how much work is this auditing process?
Oh, it's a lot of work. A lot of work.
It's a
lot of work.
You know what I mean? Like,
a lot of work.
How realistic?
Again,
but do I agree that would be helpful? Yes.
Yeah. It's a I thought about, like, maybe establishing some kind of little committee where you have like a group of 5 or 6 volunteers who are willing to go and audit the videos on behalf of, to help Chaos out, because it is.
That's already what we do.
I know, but make it an official process, right?
Yeah, but I mean, that's like the process right now is pretty much just like, usually it's someone goes, yo, this person had the nuts against me, and then if someone else goes, yo, this person had the nuts against me too. What we've kind of learned over time is that, if someone's winning a lot of games, that is in no way a suspicional cause for cheating. Just the fact that they are winning games and being a good player, that's totally fine. What has kind of raised the question a lot of times is there's no feasible way that someone can have the nuts every game.
Right.
So if you notice that someone has a disgusting nut draw 7 every fucking game, take a look at their shit. You know what I mean? Like, those are the people you got to look at.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, my point stands, though, is that I think we could still be doing a lot more to address this problem that would have an impact, and we need to be. Like, that needs to happen. And I'll put it out there. Look, I'm willing to help with that. I'm willing to spend some of my time for free to help. I already offered to buy cameras for Chaos. Like, I'm willing to buy a handful of cameras to distribute to people to get second cameras online. I'm willing to do that.
You can, yeah, I will accept that if you want to get me.
Yeah, I'll buy you a second camera. Fuck yeah.
I mean, people do want to see my face.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Just kidding. Just kidding. If you like looking at Mac,
Shane upon him.
Oh, do I? Do I have a view for you?
Yeah, but anyway, it feels good to talk about it because I like it's like therapy because I am honestly really fucking upset about it, and I'm not going to play in Mox Masters this weekend because I don't have the time to sacrifice for that. I just don't.
Come on,
I can't
play Florian. I'm playing Ob.
Yeah, I'm not doing it this week. We'll see what some changes happen. I'll come back, and but right now I'm not playing in online tournaments right now. Not doing it. Sorry.
I would like you to.
But I still want you to play
I
Ob.
look forward to our battle. I'm going to play Ob, but I was very excited that you were going to also play Florian. That was going to be my favorite storyline of the day. I was genuinely very excited for this, and I really hope you reconsider. I really genuinely hope you reconsider. Because it would be awesome. It would be so fucking sick if we both top forward on Florian and Ob. That is my dream. That is my fantasy for this weekend. And you are stripping any possibility of that away from me, and I do not appreciate it. And fucking just do it.
Dude.
Just do it.
I feel it. I feel the pain from saying it hurts me. Yeah.
So nut up. Put on your Rakdos big boy pants.
Yeah. I'm not gonna.
You want to be a Valderan Scion? You gotta fucking.
I made changes to the deck for the tournament. Like the deck is ready.
So just fucking play. Just fucking what do you mean? Just play, dude. I'm gonna play.
You don't understand. You don't understand what it takes. You don't understand the payment I have to make. Just be like, hey, honey.
Who got fucked in the finals? Me. Am I playing? Yes. Who else got fucked in the finals? Waffle. Is Waffle playing? Yes. Fucking, I don't know. Deal with it.
Yeah, I'm not ready.
This is an excuse. You're making excuses.
I love playing Florian, dude. I love it. I would play Florian. It would be fun. But
do it. I would like to enter my Rakdos tournament arc with my father by my side.
You make a lot of strong arguments. I'll tell you this. I will discuss with my wife again and see what it will cost me.
I would like to be in that conversation. You can have me on speakerphone and I'll talk with your wife too.
Oh my god. We could do that.
I will do this. I will 100. I'm a convincing man.
Oh, you haven't met my wife.
Oh, she hasn't met me.
It's gonna happen.
You think the politics only work in game?
It's on. I'm gonna have to record that conversation. You're gonna have to record that conversation.
100%. Go for it.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But anyway, I think I'm done. I don't want to talk about cheating anymore. I've got it out of my system. I've said everything I need to say. I think. Anything you want to add before we move on? Put this behind us for a minute.
Nah, let's move on.
All right.
Let's move on. All
right. So you did play in a tournament over the weekend. What's the story behind that tournament?
Yeah, it is Mythic Games in LGS, about 20 minutes away from me. They held what was supposed to be a gold level event that capped at 64 people. They made one mistake with how they organized it, which I have given feedback on, which is they had people register, but they were not required to pay when they registered. They were only required to pay when they got there. Which, when you do an event like that, some people are going to register thinking they might want to play in it, and they don't want to lose the opportunity and then not show up. So because of that, even though it did get over 60 people and would have qualified for gold in the amount of people registered, it did not hit the gold level for people that actually showed. We ended up with 54 players, which was a little disappointing.
Some heavy hitters, though.
But still
some
a 54 person. Yeah, so I'm about to go over that. So yeah, we did have some good people. I went to breakfast in the morning with Freedom Waffle and Temujin's friend, who was also in the tournament, and then also Sam, a person who worked at the shop, who apparently Waffle was staying with, who played in the event, also came to breakfast with us. But while we were at breakfast, we were kind of joking around that this is the finals pod, right? I'll see you guys in top 4.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. We'll see if that came to fruition, huh? But so we go into the tournament. My round one is Sam, the person who was at breakfast with us, who is an employee of the store, on the play on Dargo Thrasios. We had another guy on Yuriko going second, myself on Kinnan going third, and then Timna Dargo going fourth. Yuriko got off to a very strong start here, and they got off to a start that included git probing the Dargo Thrasios player. Not git probing, sorry. They oppoed him on a fetch or something. I don't remember what kind of tutor it was. I believe it was a fetch land. And the opposition agent from that tutor meant he got to look at his hand and see that his hand had everything he needed in it. It had Underworld Breach, it had a Dockside tutor. His hand was gassed. His hand was really, really good. But because of the opposition agent on board, he was shut down for quite a while. I was just kind of slowly building advantage. I ended up in a position where I had Basalt and Hullbreaker Horror in hand, but because of the revealed cards from Yuriko triggers, I knew I couldn't go for a win because he had the interaction for me. So I did the sit there and pretend I can't do anything vibe. The chill. And I sat around not doing much. Timna Dargo started gaining some advantage. I ended up cloning his Timna, and me and him were Timna bros, and we were just hitting each other every turn and drawing one card. We kind of agreed to just do that. We were Timna buddies to try and get back in the game. So I got to draw like 3 or 4 extra cards off of like various Timna attacks over this turns because the game went pretty long. So that was sick. I like being a Timna bro, and you'll see I took multiple Timnas this tournament. We'll get to. I've been
Timna
enjoying
Kinnan partners. That seems pretty good.
Dude, I've been enjoying stealing Timnas. But so we get to a point in the game where the game is like nearing time. I might get one more turn after this. I know I can't win with what Yuriko has. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just like, let's do the not lose thing. And so I play a Manglehorn and I play a Flesh Duplicate as a copy of Oppo. To try and just like be like, all right, let's just make sure we don't lose in this turn cycle because I don't think I'm winning. And then we go back to Yuriko's turn, and Yuriko goes, gotta find something, demonic tutor. And I just went, pass. And he was like, shit. You saw the wave of like realization go over his face, and he was like, fuck. And I was like, yeah, let me see your hand. So I got to know every piece of interaction he had, which was a March of Swirling Mist, which could fuck up my Hullbreaker line. He did not have Yuriko on the battlefield, so the Fierce was not turned on. And he had a Vampiric Tutor, which was dead with my Oppo, and some random other blue card that he could just like pitch to the March was the idea. And so I was like, sick. And then I went through his deck, and I was like, okay, I have a Hullbreaker line and a Basalt line available to me. I could go ahead and get a counterspell to try and push through one of those things, or I can just get another thing they have to counter. And so I did that, and I just took Mean Bet. Because the graveyards 100% won me the game. So I was like, sick, let's just give them something else they need to deal with so they can just like definitely not have enough interaction. And so I end up like end step on my turn. Sam in first seat was immediately like saying he was going to do something, so I passed priority to him rather than just play my Hullbreaker. I was like, yeah, go for it. And so he played Lightning Bolt targeting my kid, and I said, sick. In response to that, I'm gonna flash in a Hullbreaker Horror. Technically the best line they could have taken there was after I passed priority, he could have just passed, and then I wouldn't have gotten to flash in the Hullbreaker before my turn, which would have cost me a lot more mana and choked me harder. But you know, when he wants to jump priority, I'll take the freebie there on the information. And so I did that, and you know, I then do my turn, and I'm like, all right, here's a Hullbreaker Horror. Or no, yeah, so I had the Hullbreaker Horror, and then I cast the Mean Bet, and they were able to stop the Mean Bet, and then I was able to go infinite with Hullbreaker Horror, but I was at a limited position because my colored source was a talisman for the bounce, so I could only make so much colored mana, essentially. And I ended up putting them in like an awkward position where I had the Basalt in hand. I never ended up needing the Basalt, but I was trying to work around it in as many ways as possible until I got the Basalt. And I was also like baiting information out of them because they were communicating between the three of them. And so I was like, you haven't asked Sam what he has to stop me yet. And they're like, yeah, Sam, what do you have to help? And he's like, I have one piece of stack interaction. I was like, sick. So I just got to beat another piece of counter magic. Like, good to know. So I was just like doing that. So then I was just like, all right, I'll activate Kinnan and see if I can find a Glenelender or Water Cake. Right on top was Glenelender, and I was like, cool, GG. We got this now. So then I just showed them the dubbity dub. Because I was able to invasion, and they forgot that like Thrasios was just in the yard, so I just got it out of the yard.
Right.
I didn't even need a tutor.
Yep.
I didn't need a tutor because it was just out of the graveyard. So GG. We got that one right at the end there, and Temujin, who was sitting next to me and watching me finish the game, just called me a goober.
Well earned.
He was
Well
like,
earned.
the way you play,
well earned.
you're just such a goober.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. And we go into round two. Round two, I was the stream game, and it was Rogsai on the play, Blue Farm going second, which the Blue Farm player was a newer to CDH player, which is going to be relevant here for some things. Third seat was Najila, and I was Kinnan in fourth seat. We love going fourth. I kept a hand that was just like a couple of lands, an Armored Scrap Gorger, a Talisman, and then like Swan Song, Fierce, Mindbreak Trap. It's like a bunch of interaction. I was like, let's just try and slow the grind here. Najila got off to a nutty start. They had turn 1 Ring, which Najila, the definition of a deck that can just win in every imaginable way. The weakness of Najila is the lack of card advantage and the need to top deck. If you are able to supplement the resource of cards in any way in Najila and find something to gain that advantage, that is where Najila is truly terrifying. So landing a turn 1 Wondering there was like the epitome of everything I didn't want to see. And then going into Najila's final turn, I still had so much counter magic in hand. And we were in this position where like the Underworld Breach went on the stack. And before the Underworld Breach went on the stack, the Najila player played a Dockside. And, you know, Blue Farm had a couple of treasures, or had one treasure, and I was like, would you crack it? Like, obviously they're trying to win here. And he said, no, I need it. And so for me, it was like, oh, you need it for interaction, right? Like that's when he's saying I'm not going to crack it, he doesn't need 4 mana here for 1 piece of interaction. So that means he has multiple pieces of interaction is like the tell on what that is. So when the breach goes in the stack, I'm like, sick, let him start it because my Mindbreak Trap isn't online yet. So I will go last. So I pass priority to him and he just snap passes on the breach, which we needed to fight over the breach. And it turns out what he had in hand was he had an opposition agent, and then he had a Force of Will but no blue card. And so the reason he was trying to hold the treasures was if I ended up making him another treasure off of Lotho, he could play another blue. He could hard cast the Force if need be. But what ended up getting stupid there was I didn't know he had the Force of Will in hand, and I didn't know that he would get another Crom trigger off of me playing stuff and stuff like that. So when Najila showed another piece of counter magic that I couldn't beat, I said, oh, we're good to scoop it up. And I asked him, I was like, you guys have anything? And they were like, no, we don't have anything. And I was like, okay, then we scooped it up. And then after we scooped it up, he was like, yeah, I had this Force Will in hand, but no blue card. And I was like, yeah, but if I played one more piece of counter magic, then I draw you another card. Why did you tell me you didn't have anything?
Yeah, because
so that was like, Najila probably gets there either way, but like, it's a little scuffed in that one. Definitely some communication that could have been handled differently there with trying to stop it, because there was a very clear threat at the table, and when there's a very clear threat trying to win, I think being a little more open about what people have. If he had told me he didn't have an answer to the breach, I would have absolutely started the chain. But the way that he was like, no, I need to hold up more interaction on the Dockside treasure thing is the ultimate tell if I have multiple pieces of interaction. So
yeah,
that was what that was.
I have a question.
We lost
just
that
a question
one.
about that. Like, so what were his chances of winning at that point in the game? Like, if he
Blue Farm?
Yeah,
Pretty low.
Yeah.
I mean, Najila was just so far ahead. I mean, I wasn't close to anything. It wasn't like, oh, if we stop Najila here, I win. No, I had nothing. Like, it was just like, might as well the game could continue and, like, other things could occur.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I was just...
There's no reason to, like,
I was
scoop
just
it
thinking,
up if you guys
I was
have
just
it
thinking
out.
yesterday, or maybe it was this morning, I was thinking about, like, there are games where people interact incorrectly, where they could have stopped someone from winning, but their position and their chances of winning were just infinitesimial. It's a challenge. It's a challenge sometimes to convince people to continue to participate in a game that they feel they're no longer a part of.
So this had nothing to do.
Yeah. Okay.
In my opinion.
Okay.
Like, I would say he was in the second best position after Ninja.
Okay.
If I'm remembering correctly, with like the fact that he had a Lotho and a Crom on the battlefield, and like he was in the best position of continuous advantage.
Okay, that makes sense.
After that,
makes sense. All right.
So no, I don't think that had anything to do with it. I think that was just
that's fair.
And we had a conversation after the game where he was like, "Yep, got to learn to communicate better and like handle those situations." He was a nice guy. He wasn't like a dick about it at all. Going into round three was interesting. Round 3 was a guy running card for card my Kinnan deck, Grind Them Into Dust on the play. Myself on Grind Them Into Dust going second. Magda going third. And then Temujin's friend Noah on Winota going fourth. one thing. Actually, I'll mention this partway through the game. Magda had a turn 1 Grafdigger's Cage as well, which immediately shut off everything. Which honestly, my hand was not the most Kinnan activation-y hand. And so when I'm looking at the Grafdigger's Cage, I'm like, I'm not touching that. I'm against another Kinnan and a Winota. That Grafdigger's Cage is A-okay.
Oh yeah.
Let's fucking go. And my general rule of thumb when I'm in a Kinnan mirror is be the worst Kinnan. Be the slightly worse Kinnan deck for that game. Do not be the Kinnan deck that's the threat. Because then you get all the interaction thrown at you if you are the threat Kinnan deck. And if you are the second best Kinnan deck, then you tend to fly under the radar just long enough to then like win afterwards. It's kind of how I've known that to go. I try and be the worst Kinnan deck. And I did that this game very successfully. We ended up in a position where he was so dominant that like so this is where I have to bring up. This is the funniest thing that has ever happened to me in a CDH tournament game. Like, bar none, this was the funniest thing that has ever happened to me. We're midway through the game. We're a little worried about Magda as well. Like, Magda is at this point also looking scary, ready to activate, ready to do some things. And and the Winota player, on his next turn, because he goes Magda into him, he looks at me and he goes, is this a now thing or a later thing? And he hands me a card. And I look at this card, and I have never been more confused about what mind games someone is attempting to play in my life, because this fucking guy handed me a Ginger Brute. And so I hear, is this a now thing or is this a later thing? I get handed a Ginger Brute. I have to look at it a little bit confused and try and figure out if he's just trying to fuck with the opponents.
That's wild.
And so I just go, I don't know, bro. That's a you decision. And I fucking hand it back. And he told me he was confused why my answer was cryptic. He was like, why did you not give me a straight answer? And then he looks at the card. He goes, oh shit, wrong card, bro. And then he hands me an Aven Mind Sensor.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
So he handed me the wrong card. But just having someone go, is this a now thing or is this a later thing? And secretly slide me a Ginger Brute was the funniest fucking thing that has ever happened to me.
I can think of is, hey, are you hungry? Would you like a cookie? Like
exactly. But I was so confused because in my brain I don't know it's the wrong card. For a second I thought about asking if he handed me the right card, but I don't know if he's trying to big brain and like fuck
make
with
them
the other
think
people
that he has
them.
something that he doesn't have. Yeah.
Because we were in the worst two positions. Like on the board state known knowledge, me and him are 3 and 4 in how we're doing. In the game, and so I didn't know if he was just trying to mess with the opponents, but he was asking genuinely if he should play the Aven Mind Sensor, which I told him to hold back and like wait for Magda. Like you can wait to do that. Wait and see if you need it on a Kinnan's turn was the idea. Try and snipe something out of him rather than just play it right now on your turn when it has flash.
Sure.
So that was the consideration, and then it ended up going to the point where he was supposed to cast the Aven and he forgot to. On the end step before his turn. But on my next turn, the Kinnan deck had a Ristic Study. And what I showed was I literally showed the table. I was like, I am in no position to do anything, which was completely true at this time. My hand was booty hole. I did not draw well. And I revealed a Trophy Mage. And I said, there's a Grafdigger's Cage right now. I'm in no position where I give a shit about getting Basalt Monolith. What I can do, because I knew he had the Aven, which is why I wanted to reveal this information. And so I was like, and I didn't say he had the Aven, I just like was doing this as a conversation. I was like, I can play this, I can get a Mirage Mirror, and I can start cloning his Ristic Study if you guys want to try and help me find some answers. And so that was what we ended up doing. So I made a Ristic Study and got to draw some cards where they were paying for his Ristic and not mine. It was pretty nice. He was in such a dominant position in this game. Bro, what do you mean? You gotta find answers, right? And then we end up in the position where like Aven Mind Sensor happens, and then like Magna tries to do stuff in response to it. They end up not finding anything. We go to Kinnan's next turn, and he decides to shoot the shot at the win. Really importantly on the battlefield, he already has a Thrasios. He already has his own Mirage Mirror. And I say that I'm like worried about me having the Trophy Mage on the battlefield. I wish that I had just killed it, and I don't think he would have been able to win here. He has a Nyx Bloom Ancient and everything as well. Oof. And so what he ends up doing is, he plays a clone. In response to the clone, I try and Chain of Vapor my Trophy Mage. He has a counter for the Chain of Vapor. He lands his own Trophy Mage. And he is able to go get Basalt, play the Basalt. I had a Manglehorn, so it entered tapped. And he puts the untap trigger on the stack. And this is where he is obviously like ready to win the game. And when he puts the untap trigger on the stack, he does have 3 mana to untap it again if necessary. Now, there were a lot of moments in this tournament where the people who are sitting next to me, I'm not trying to look. Like, if I'm on the left side of the table, I'm lean to the left usually, but they were just like showing their hands enough that I could like easily see it without even trying to look. And so I could see that this guy had an offer you can't refuse. And I have exactly 2 mana up, but I have 3 creatures. And I have my own Mirage Mirror, remember, that is not turned into anything this turn. And so I'm like, Hail Mary shot. Let's try and jabate this guy. So I Court of Calling X equals 2. And I'm like, guys, I gotta try and find the answer here. And in his brain, he's probably like, thinking like Gilded Drake and whatever and all kinds of stuff. All I needed him to do was offer this chord, so I had like a line to get out of this. And he got jebaited, and he offered the Court of Calling, and you could see him shaking while making this decision to counter it or not. And he did offer you the chord, and I snap pass on the offer, make 2 treasures, and I go, okay, while your Basalt on tap is on the stack, I'm going to crack one of these treasures. I'm going to have my Mirage Mirror target your Thrasios. I'm going to hold priority on the activation. I'm going to crack my other treasure and have my Mirage Mirror target your Basalt Monolith.
Oh my god. Oh my god. That is ridiculous.
And what he did, which is very interesting, is in response he used his 2 remaining mana to turn his Mirage Mirror into a Basalt Monolith. But then he passed priority on mine.
Oh no.
And so I turned into a Basalt Monolith and then turned into a Thrasios, and we were then in a position where he had this win in 18 different ways, and he just threw it away, where we both had infinite colorless mana and a Thrasios. And I said, I'm going to put a Thrasios activation on the stack. And he said, on top of yours, I'm going to put a Thrasios activation on the stack. And we went around this a few times, and I said, do you see the issue now? And he goes, yes. I said, are we good to draw? And he goes, yeah.
Wow.
So I snuck the draw to that one. I looked at the Magna Winota player and I said, you guys are welcome.
Good God. Good God. That's insane.
It's so funny.
That's insane.
It's so funny, dude. Did not deserve that draw. He had that win so easily. He could have just done everything on top of the Court of Calling even, because he could have just untapped his Basalt and kept going.
I will tell you this. He will never make that mistake. Ever. It'll never happen.
Dude, how fucking funny was it? How funny is that line though?
That's ridiculous.
I had to debate the counter to then turn my shit into his shit twice.
That's amazing. So funny.
It was so funny though, dude. If he didn't make the infinite mana before I did though, I actually won there, which is so funny. But the fact that he made the infinite mana and then passed on my activations, and I was like, sweet. So then we're stuck.
Now a draw.
Now it's a draw, which was hey, I'm not complaining about a draw from a game that I absolutely should have lost.
Snatched from the jaws of defeat. It's like, woo, that's crazy.
Which brings us into my favorite game of the day, round 4.
Round 4 was the stream game. I got to be on the play on Kinnan. We had Niv Mizzet going second. We had Blue Farm going third, and we had OG Extra Turns Narset going fourth. I kept a very just kind of mana into creature tutory type of hand. I think I might have even had Basalt in my opener, or I drew it in the first couple draws. I'm not 100% sure. I know I had a Phyrexian Metamorph that is going to be relevant, and I had a Perplexing Chimera. So, really importantly, Niv Mizzet in second seat starts with a turn 1 Grafdigger's Cage, which really changes my plans for this game. I quickly play out a Perplexing Chimera on either turn 2 or turn 3. I don't remember which one it was. And when you're playing Perplexing Chimera in this type of board state, from the way Blue Farm was playing, I didn't really think they had too much going on with their hand. But the best thing about Chimera is it means Niv Mizzet is not going to be casting Niv Mizzet, and it means that Narset is not going to be casting Narset because they can't. So, normally I hold back the Chimera and I never give it away because I don't like to lose its capability and I don't want to give anyone the ability to go for win attempts when it's holding them back. The exceptions to this rule are if you can give someone the Chimera for some good value piece that you don't think is going to allow them to win the game, and it still maintains the stacks effects against the opponents you need it to be staxing. AKA, I don't want Narset casting Narset, and I don't want Niv casting Niv. That is my priority right now with this Chimera. So, immediately in the turn cycle, Blue Farm casts Tymna. And I thought about this one for like a couple minutes. I told him to just give me a second to cook here. And at the same time, he already has Crom on the battlefield, so I don't want him drawing a bunch of cards with Tymna and Crom. And I also have a Phyrexian Metamorph in my hand, which can copy a Crom, hypothetically. So I think about this, and I'm like, okay, if Blue Farm's just going for Tymna and Crom, I don't think their hand's that good. It's going to be doing anything that quickly. And if I give him the Chimera, it still staxes out Narset. It still staxes out Niv Mizzet, so I say, fuck it.
here's a Chimera. I would like a Tymna.
You're playing Blue Farm, is what
And-
you're saying. You're about to play Blue Farm.
So Narset immediately does have an enchantment removal spell for the Chimera. So the Chimera was immediately removed from the board, which was perfect because rewarded for giving it away. Because I was able to steal something and not just have my Chimera die, which it would have immediately afterwards anyway. But then we have the answer for Narset on the first cast of Narset. Niv-Mizzet had a Stern Scolding for it, which was perfect. And then I untap and I say, let's do something funny. And I cast Phyrexian Metamorph as a copy of Crom. And then I swing with Crom, Tymna, and Kinnan. Lose 3, draw 3, baby. And that has never felt so fucking good as to become the Blue Farm. And I literally, they quoted me on the stream when they had someone like sitting next to the stream relaying information to the casters, where they relayed the information to the casters that I said, I am the Blue Farm now.
That's awesome.
So that was super fun. It just felt super nice to do. Immediately on the next turn, the Blue Farm player snapped back to his own Tymna. So I didn't have it for long.
You had it for
but
a
it
minute,
was
though. Yeah.
I had it. I got to lose 3, draw 3 one time, and that was all I needed. I was still drawing off of Crom a bunch in that game. Niv-Mizzet was never able to get their mana to get Niv-Mizzet on the battlefield, so they were just the control player this entire time. And it was really nice. Like, having the Grafdigger's Cage on the board gave me the freedom to develop while being able to say, I can't really do anything here. So, like, I played a Seedborn Muse. I had, like, 15 mana on the board.
Wow.
I couldn't do anything with it. I literally didn't cast a single spell. I didn't activate Kinnan. It was just there. And what was so nice about it as well was I also played an Armored Scrapgorger the same turn when I already had a Springleaf Drum out. So I was able to start just eating away the graveyards. So this game was this really weird, like, I was allowed to fully develop Seedborn Muse, 15 mana on board type of game, but I can't win, and everyone knows I can't win, so we're interacting with the other players. We're continuously stopping Narset, Blue Farm's not going too crazy, and I'm just sitting there with this, like, massive board that can't actually accomplish anything. So even, like, a couple turns later, I cast a Nyxbloom Ancient, and I looked at the table, and I said, I don't need more mana. This is a 5/5 Trampler.
Yeah.
And I started beating face with my fucking board just over a few turns. Like, I took Narset down to like 5, and then I was like, well, really, I just need to kill Niv-Mizzet, because I had an Emergent Zone on board for one thing. So if at any point their Grafdigger's Cage left the battlefield, I had Wind in hand. I had Court of Calling, I had Invasion, I had Basalt, all of those were in my hand. I won the second that Grafdigger's Cage was gone with an Emergent Zone crack. So I'm just sitting there waiting, doing nothing. I hard cast a Force of Will to stop Narset another time, because that's just like, we could lose to that. And yeah, I start beating face at Niv-Mizzet, and one swing from all my creatures with the Nyxbloom takes them down to 4. They untap, they win their Mana Crypt roll, we go into Blue Farm's turn, Blue Farm ends up gambling, and they totally punted away the win here, and they admitted it after the game. They were pretty mad at themselves. They, like, forgot they had a Grand Abolisher in hand, and they were really concerned about a piece of interaction on Niv-Mizzet, so they didn't go for a win. They ended up trying to Gilded Drake my Crom, and then it died to the Legend Rule, which was just like a punt again. But so they ended up passing the turn, not going for a win attempt. Narset goes, this is what I got, throws an extra turn spell on the stack, and Niv-Mizzet countered it, which I do not think they should have. But,
Thanks.
Whatever, I'll fucking take
thanks.
it. And then I untap, I go to combat. I murder Niv-Mizzet, just like way past overkill him, just to be sure that this man is dead. And then I have a Nyxbloom Ancient, so I have just like 30 plus mana. It's crazy. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to start with an Invasion of Ikoria for X equals 4. I will put a Glenolander into play. Then I'm going to cast Court of Calling for X equals 2. I'm going to put a Flesh Duplicate in play as a copy of Glenolander. So now I have 4 onboard counter spells to protect what I want to do, because my draw for turn was Green Suns. Then I play the Basalt, then I play the Green Suns for Thrasios, in the just most ultra protected, no one's going to touch me fashion, and I proceed to win the game. But that one was super weird, super fun. It's nice to always take someone out as Richard Garfield intended me to, and just like smack him with a 5/5 trample, dude. That's
the best removal is player removal.
The best removal is player removal,
yeah.
bro. I don't need to get rid of your Grafdigger's Cage. I just need to get rid of you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was round 4. That was a super fun one. I really enjoyed that game. Being the Blue Farm was a ton of fun, and literally playing Nyxbloom as a 5/5 Trampler, and that was actually its purpose, was pretty fucking funny.
Yeah.
Literally looking at the table and saying, I do not need more mana. So that was a good time. Round 5, we took the ID, didn't bother with it, put me at 12 points. I knew it was going to put me probably at worst being second seed overall for my top 16 game. So I ended up going into top 16 as the 5th seed. So, or no, I was the 6th seed. I was the 6th seed, not the 5th seed. 5th seed's annoying because you're so close to being on the play. But I was the number 6 seed. And my top 16 game was an interesting one as well. It was a little tense. It was one of those more tense games. But it was the Najeela player I lost to in round 2 on the play, myself on Kinnan in 2nd seat. It was the Blue Farm player I had beaten in round 4 in 3rd seat. And then we had Selvala going 4th, Mono Green Selvala. And dude, I was like, yeah, I'm scared of Selvala, dude. And he tried to tell me he was a grindy Selvala list. And I was like, I do not believe you. like that means
it's not even a thing.
And he goes, oh yeah? He goes, oh yeah, check this out. And he pulls out a Null Rod. And I was like, cool, you play Null Rod. That doesn't mean you're a grindy deck. Like, you're still a combo and tap deck. What do you mean?
You just don't need artifacts.
So he was like, okay. Yeah, he was like, okay. This game, I kept a hand that, like, if I drew a land, played a turn 2 Consphinx going 2nd, which I know I had not the best luck with in the past, but I was like, let's try it. Ended up not drawing the land I needed, so I was able to play a turn 3 Consphinx. And the way it worked, it was like Najeela was already set to win going into my 3rd turn. Like, they were already looking ready. They had Samit ready to draw 6 more cards their following turn. Like, everything they could possibly need to try and push through a win attempt. And so I literally just played the Consphinx and was like, I'm going to dig for an answer. This is what I got.
God, I don't know how you pull that shit off.
And the Blue Farm player...
I don't know how you do it. Come on. Oh my god.
Dude, let me cook. But also, like, it's true though. Like, I had nothing else I could do in my hand. That is digging for an answer.
I mean, winning the game is an answer.
The Blue Farm,
yeah, it's true. Yeah.
It is an answer. But so the Blue Farm player untaps and he immediately tutors. And I'm like, are you trying to win or are you getting something to help with Najeela? Like, do you play a Deluge? I would accept here even if I lose my Sphinx. Like, that's fine. Like, you know, he doesn't play Deluge. And he ends up going, I'm thinking about getting this, and he shows me a card, and it's a flesh duplicate, and I say, bet.
Oh no.
Bet.
Oh no.
So he plays a flesh duplicate as a copy of Consphinx and passes the turn, and I go, fuck yeah, dude. Because I have had to keep track of many dual Sphinx scenarios, and I am quite good at them. So I was like, this is the best line I could have ever asked for. This is perfect. And so, you know, Selvala untaps, draws a card. I present, I have a basic forest and a basic island to keep track of the triggers. I ask if you want to be blue or green. I actually forgot which color he said, and I used the wrong color for him. But so it starts where we both have a Consphinx trigger on the stack from the person drawing a card. And I go, your Consphinx trigger is the top of the stack. Would you like to draw a card? Draw 2 cards. And he goes, yes. So now he has no floating Consphinx triggers, and I have 3 floating Consphinx triggers. And we go through this process for a few draws until we each have about 5 Consphinx triggers floating. And I go, would you like to stop here and just draw 10 cards, and we do no more so the game doesn't get too out of hand? Because I don't want it to get too out of hand, but I'm next in turn order.
No.
And this man has like no mana up. And so I'm like, let's just chill here. And he accepts that deal. So we each draw 10 cards. And he outwardly says that he did not draw a single piece of counter magic.
Don't say that out loud, dude. Don't say that out loud.
Good enough. and so we go into Najeela's turn, and I start drawing a few more cards. Absolutely. I absolutely start drawing cards on the Consphinx trigger again because I want answers to Najeela, and I am next in turn order. So I'm going to say yes to these Consphinx draws. And so it gets to the point that he has to say no to not let me draw too much. So then I draw like an extra 5 to 10 cards past him, which is great. And Najeela is then arguing that they're trying to convince, so they play a Grim Hireling, and they're trying to convince the other players to let them hit them. And I'm like, all he's going to do is win. I do not currently, with my current mana situation in my hand, I do not have an answer to Najeela's win attempt here if they go for the breach, which was honest. I didn't with my current situation on board. And so he's trying to convince them. Now he's like, I'm going to go for this breach attempt. I'm going to go for a win attempt. It's going to eat a bunch of wounded's counter magic. You know, that's what we need to happen here. And I'm like telling him, like, I currently do not have an answer to that scenario. So like, that will just lose the game if you guys let him through. And we're in beginning of combat here, by the way. And what I ended up doing was I I channeled Colossal Sky Turtle in beginning of combat and bounced the Najila to his hand. So he wouldn't get more tokens and more draws, but he still had the Grim Hireling. And again, I could kind of see part of his hand because I'm sitting next to him. I'm not trying to look. It's just like these people do not hide their hand well at all. And so I could see he had all the pieces to win the game, and he just needed the mana. And so the Grim Hireling is there. And so, you know, we're still beginning of combat. I have one floating mana after doing the Colossal Sky Turtle thing, just one floating mana. And, you know, he's trying to argue about this Grim Hireling thing. And he's like, okay, well, I'm going to go. And I'm like, well, before, you know, they agree to let him hit him, to let him make some treasures and do the shit because they think they're losing to me anyway. So I'm like, okay, well, we are still in beginning of combat. I still have this mana floating. I'm going to exile this Elvish Spirit Guide and I'm going to cast this Crop Rotation, sacrificing my tap land. And they all pass on it, and I say, okay, I'm going to put this Emergent Zone into play, and I'm going to use my one floating mana, and I'm going to crack this Emergent Zone.
Oh.
And I don't win the game here. But what I do is I go like Chrome Mox, Mox Diamond, Soul Ring, Arcane Signet, Manglehorn, now holding up like 3 pieces of counter magic with my mana, which fucks over his Grim Hireling. So then I had a bunch of mana on board, and now I'm holding up multiple pieces of interaction.
He's not coming back from that.
So he ends up trying to pyroblast one of my things, and I just mana drain it or something like that.
Even more mana.
And so yeah, he doesn't get shit. And then we, you know, so he ends up going, which what I did, because I didn't want him even having the 1 mana floating because I could see the Pyroblast. So I tried to bait the Pyroblast by using my March of Swirling Mist on his Grim Hireling so he wouldn't even make the treasures, even though they'd be tapped, which I didn't care about. But also, I didn't want him to make the tap treasures because his land could produce black, so then he could still kill my stuff with his Grim Hireling on his turn once he's made the tap treasures, because it's just sacrifice X treasures.
Yeah.
So that would still work. So I was trying to bait the Pyroblast. So I cast the March, he Pyroblasted it. I said, great. Which is now he was tapped out, and then he goes to combat, he makes some tap treasures. I don't give a shit. I go to my turn. I draw for turn. I go to my turn. Before my draw step, I Worldly Tutor and I put Trophy Mage on top, so they see that. So then I go to draw step, I draw the Trophy Mage, and this man starts the Con Sphinx trigger, which, by the way, my Manglehorn ETB blew up the Lotus Petal of the guy who had the Con Sphinx. So he is literally, he has 1 mana floating, and that's it. And he tries to silence me on my upkeep as well, but I just had the answer for the silence, so that didn't matter. I was like, cool, here's
mental
misstep.
misstep.
And he didn't have any beyond that. Yeah. So then when I draw, though, he's now in this position where he's like, well, I lose the game if I don't do anything. So he starts saying yes to the Con Sphinx triggers. So we draw like 10 more cards and then go, okay, now I'm going to Cyclonic Rift your Con Sphinx. And like in response to this, someone tried to Pyroblast my Kinnan, and I just like spell skited it. And then I tried to Psych Rift his Con Sphinx, and the Selvala player doesn't want him to lose his Con Sphinx because it's his way out to maybe try and stop me. So he tries to Vines of the Vastwood the Con Sphinx. I go, okay, I'll lose 2 life and redirect that to Spellskite. And then then I draw like 10 more cards, and so then I get rid of his Con Sphinx, and he has 5 floating Con Sphinx triggers. And the way this works, if he doesn't draw on his 5 things there, I draw 10 cards on my floating Con Sphinx triggers. If he does draw on his 5 floating Con Sphinx triggers while I still have a Con Sphinx, I draw 20 extra cards off of his 10 cards plus the extra 10. So he drew 10.
You don't win that war. You don't win that war.
And then I literally said, I was like, do you guys want me to play this out? And they were like, nope. And then that game was over, and I went to top 4. And the top 4 pod, a shocking, unpredictable pod of Temujin on the play.
Wait, Temujin?
Who could it be? Temujin.
Wait, who you had breakfast with?
Temujin.
Wait, Temujin, who you had breakfast with?
Yeah, Temujin, who I had breakfast with. But also very funny. We all immediately saw that we were in different top 16 pods, and we were like, cool, finals pod. So Temujin was on the play. It was the guy from my round 3 match who had my exact Kinnan list on going second. And then myself on my exact Kinnan deck going third, and then we had Freedom Waffle coming up the rear going fourth on Blue Farm. Yeah, I know, shocking pod.
Where did you guys have breakfast? Because that's where I'm gonna go before I play. And
we went to a place called Toast. That's all I know.
So
about.
Guys,
I'm
gonna offer some
strawberry.
Hold on, I'm gonna offer some free CDH coaching right now. If you go play in this tournament, because it's gonna be there. What is it gonna be monthly?
I don't know.
There will be other tournaments there. Go eat a toast first, and you'll make top 4. Go on. Okay. Yeah.
That's the way to do it. I had strawberry banana cheesecake pancakes.
Ooh, that's great.
That was my breakfast of champions right there. But yeah, so dude, my starting hand in this finals pod, one of the best starting hands I've ever had. absolutely fucking broken. I started my starting hand was Scalding Tarn, Tropical Island, Elvish Mystic. That's it.
That's it?
I mulled the 3.
Oh, Jesus.
That's it.
I'm waiting for the other cards. I'm like, and
Nah,
go
dude, I
on.
mulled
Go
the
on.
3.
Oh, jeez.
I mulled the 3, bro. No, that one was over before it started. I could not have given it any less of a shit during that game. I memed the entire time. Dude, so funny. Like, that was which literally, I wasn't looking for anything. I just, like, couldn't get a keepable hand. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is where we're at. So I kept the 2 lands in the elf. I played the elf, and on turn 3, my elf got bowmastered. I was like, okay, sick. So, yeah, it was a rough life. I never had any chance in that game, so I was just honestly doing dumb shit. Like, I was just swinging cannon at Temujin and like dumb shit for no reason. And then Waffle won. It ended up being the Kinnan player went for a win attempt, and Temujin looked at him and was like, "You are not beating what I have right now. Like, don't do this." But he went for it. And Temujin was not lying. He could not beat what Temujin had, because Temujin was just sitting on a fish the whole time. But the issue was, because Temujin was outwardly saying he had so much interaction, Waffle was just passing to him. Even though Waffle apparently had like 4 pieces of counter magic in hand, while this dude is going for a Hullbreaker Horror line. And so Waffle was just passing.
Wait.
And
Waffle
so
passing with counter magic in hand? What? Really?
Dude, absolutely shocking. I've never seen this happen before. we were giving him shit after the game, but it was so funny. Even the person who was sitting next to the table could see Waffle's hand when they were like relaying to the casters, and he was like, "Yo, this dude is playing these fools." Like he could see Waffle's hand of just like Adnaz and 4 pieces of counter magic, and it was just like
Bro,
just like smoothing his way to not doing
Waffle.
shit. And so when the Hullbreaker was on the stack, Temujin cast a silence. All of the counter magic ore was over the silence. Temujin won that battle, and so then silence as the last thing on the stack. Waffle just goes Adnaz. And then Temujin still had more counter magic for him, but then Waffle had obviously ample protection to make sure the Nas went through. The Nas got him clearly everything he needed. It was Kinnan's turn, was then pretty much finished, and then my turn, and then Waffle's. I have 1 card in hand. I have like 6 mana, so I untap, I play a land, and I'm like, shit, cool. I'll activate Kinnan, I guess, and I'll hit this Glenelendra, which does nothing because I know Waffle has 4 answers to it in hand. And then we lost. It was a good game. It was a good win by Waffle.
Congratulations,
it was a fun
Waffle,
one.
dude. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations. I'll put down the mic so I can clap here.
Yay.
And then after this game, myself, Waffle, Temujin, and Temujin's buddy Noah all went back to my house, and we continued to play more Magic.
Oh, that's amazing. That's all I want to do in life. That's all I want in life.
Yeah, that's all we did.
Yeah.
It was a good day. It was a good tournament. I had a fun time.
Excellent.
I had a fun time. And it might be my last one on Kinnan for a little bit. I don't know. I'm going to be playing Ob this weekend. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah, I hope you do well.
Is Ob as good as Kinnan? Absolutely not. Do I think my chances of winning the tournament are as good on Ob as Kinnan? Absolutely not. But I don't know. I don't like, my goal is always to win the tournament, but like I don't need to farm any fucking clout. Like, I think I've kind of proved what I need to prove on Kinnan, and I'm pretty excited to try out a different strategy and see if I can prove myself on something else.
I think it's 100% the right decision for you to play something different. I think the experience alone will be great for you. I think I wouldn't be surprised if you win the whole damn thing on Ob, just because it's like it's a different like totally different paradigm than what you're used to, and that may give you the edge.
I'm excited to play a deck where like I'm not immediately viewed like as such an enormous threat just from like what I'm doing. You know, because like Kinnan, people are just terrified of Kinnan. But like, I know Ob is scary, but I think Ob is going to get more leeway than Kinnan.
I'll be honest, I'm more afraid when I see Ob across the table than I am of Kinnan. Like, I just feel like Kinnan, like I know what Kinnan does. You know, Ob, like I don't know what the fuck you're going to reveal off those triggers, man. It could be anything. I'm terrified.
Dude, it's so funny. The best thing about Ob is that a lot of the turns that I end up winning the game, I don't know I'll be winning the game. It's just like the cards I hit.
Yeah, you never know.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Dude, I was in a game last night that like I Jessica's Willed, and then I cast Breach just to read Jessica's Will because I had nothing going on because I was obviously going to lose. And my reveals off the Jessica's Will were Adnaz, Necro, and Conqueror's Flail. Well, I had no black mana. I only had the red mana from Jessica's Will. So I was like, oh, that sucks. And I had a Ragavan I could dash, and I had a Culling the Week in hand. So I was like, oh, I could totally just do this for Necro at the end. But so when
But I had the Breach on board, and so I dashed the Ragavan, I played the Conch Flail, and I played the Magda. But because I didn't think I'd be winning that turn, I didn't equip the Conqueror's Flail. I didn't think I need to, because I didn't think I'd be winning that turn. And so I decided to pay for 2 Mystic Study triggers instead of equip. And then there ended up being one more Bowmaster trigger from Mystic Study, where now that he saw I couldn't do anything, he decided to ping someone else. So I did get an ob trigger, and the top card was Grinding Station. I was like, fuck. But so I ended up trying in the end step. Like I went to combat, made the treasure, and then I colored to weak the rag, and then they just forced and egged it. And I was like, shit. I should have equipped the Conqueror's Flail.
Damn, you would have won that game.
Because I actually would have pulled out. I would have pulled out that fucking.
Yeah, come on, that's like number one rule.
So
you're playing Rakdos. You're playing
Grixis
like Turbo like that. Yeah, fuck your Mystic Study. Go ahead, draw.
But I knew I wasn't winning that. But I knew I wasn't winning. I didn't think I was winning that turn. Which also, if I had equipped the Conqueror's Flail, there's a chance he doesn't give me the ping where I get to see a card.
Okay, that's fair.
So there's arguments for it. But yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah,
I'm super excited. I really look forward to convincing you to play this weekend.
I will have the conversation with my wife, and I will see if you can join that call and see how that goes.
Fuck yeah.
And if we'll see.
We'll see. We're gonna get the Florian Master back.
I am excited.
Finally get to prove to you.
Try out some of the changes I made. It should be fun. Yeah, I hope we do meet in top 4.
Do you play Ob Nixilis in your 99 yet?
No.
Do you play Ob in your 99? Do you play Prosper in your 99?
Nope. Prosper's terrible in Florian. The one tough power attacker. Fuck that. Yeah, look at one card.
No, for Ob, that 1/4 Death Touch is the dream.
Yeah, I know.
It's fucking wild. Some of these cards, like you look at Reckless Fireweaver and fucking Casting Flame Breather and Disciple, they're all 1 power attackers.
Terrible cards. Terrible card quality.
Let's go, dude.
Get out of here,
dude. Honestly, Ob is draft chaff.deck to some extent, but it's like so good.
Yeah, well, Ob is a powerhouse by himself. That's the thing.
Ob is really good.
Yeah.
Ob is really good, but I like that you don't need Ob. Like Ob is really good. He's a great engine piece, but you don't need him at all. You can still just win the Rakdos way.
Yeah, you can, but it's a little bit harder, I think, to win that way than it is on Florian. Just because Florian, I think the deck itself is better than Ob's deck.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but I think I don't disagree that Ob as a commander is better than Florian as a commander, probably by itself.
I'm sorry. Wait, can you
in a vacuum?
Can you repeat the sentence that you just said? Wait, what did you?
I think that Ob by itself offers more value as a commander than Florian by itself. But
so are you saying that the deck Ob Nixilis Casted Pinkpin is a better overall CEDH deck than Florian Valdaren Scion?
I'm not saying that. No.
I don't know. It sounds like what you're saying.
I'm saying that in a vacuum, just looking at Ob by itself without the deck, and looking at Florian by itself without the deck, Ob is a more powerful card than Florian.
Okay, so considering the entire decks, though, and how strong they are as a CDH deck, I do have to ask you, which one is on the database?
Oh, I think the power's going out again. Shit.
Oh, the power's going out again. Oh, no.
God, you're so mean. You're so mean. Dude, kick a man while he's down.
I'm so excited. I am so excited to place better than you this weekend and just end this fucking argument forever. Dude, honestly, I do not care how well I do in this tournament as long as I beat you. Like, that is the
Why
goal.
are you so obsessed with that? I don't care that much. You care
yeah,
so
you
much.
do, though. I know you do deep down.
No,
you
don't.
really want to prove Florian's better. Yes, you do.
I know it's better.
Get
I don't
out
need
of
to
here.
prove anything.
Yeah, okay. I know Ob is better, but I would like to prove it. I would like to defeat Daddy Satellite in battle. If I can just show
we all have to have, like, aspirations, I guess. All right.
We're both going to top 16, 100%.
That'll be fun. But, yeah.
No, we're absolutely both going to top 16 this week.
See if I play.
You're going to play. I already know you're going to play.
I don't know. You haven't met my wife yet. We'll see how it goes. All right. Well, I think we've reached the end of this episode.
As always, we are brought to you by the most magnificent sponsor to ever grace the CDH community. Can we give it up for... I'm not going to clap because I'm holding the mic, but can we give it up for Eminence Gaming? Wow, those are quiet fucking claps.
I don't want to clap too loud. I'll be like...
Significantly. Yeah, okay. It just kind of cuts it off anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You won't hear it.
We are sponsored by Eminence Gaming, the greatest sponsor to ever exist. They are the reason that these tournaments get to exist and function as wonderfully as they do. If you think there are issues
with some of these tournaments now. Imagine if we didn't have Eminence Gaming and the Command Tower software, everything would be significantly worse. So we are blessed to be able to use that software, and it's so fortunate to be sponsored by them, and we really appreciate them. Anything else you would like to say, Max? Or should I close this out?
We love you guys. Thanks for watching us today. Hopefully you've already subscribed. If you haven't, subscribe now. Like our videos. Check out our, we're also on Spotify. We have a Patreon. All that stuff will be in the description below. Join our Discord. Come talk to us. We're having a great time doing this. And if you want to see more of it, tell us what we should talk about. With that,
we love feedback.
Yeah, we love feedback. We want to hear what you think.
Yeah.
And obviously, we want to hear your thoughts about the whole cheating thing that we talked about earlier. It's a very serious issue, and it's therapy to talk about it. This is a very upsetting thing. So please, feel free to chime in and give us your thoughts. So with that, Max, you would take us out?
Thank you so much for listening to the Colors Over Crutch podcast. My name is Max Sternberg, also known as Wounded Satellite, and I'm joined, as always, by my magnificent, wonderful, incredible co-host, Max P. the Italian Man. Or the Kindly Lord. Some people like that one more. We're going to have to settle on one of those. If you are interested in CEDH coaching, that is something I do offer. You can contact me on Discord, where I am named Wounded Satellite, or on Twitter, where I am named Wounded Satellite, and we can figure all of that fun stuff out. I will say, there's been an incredible uptick in coaching. It must have just been like free time from the holidays plus money from Christmas. Like, I was doing like 3 sessions every single day. It felt
nice.
Great. It was a good time. Been working on a lot of fun decks. So yeah, hit me up if you're interested in any of that. Please like and subscribe. Please check out our Discord. Please check out our Patreon. All the good stuff. And I think that's all we got for today. So get ready for some sick closeout music. Boom.
Thanks, guys.